Hey guys, it's the WalterFootball.com After Dark show for January 30, 2025. As you can see, I'm flying solo tonight. Unfortunately, Kenny, his kids are both sick, so he has to tend to them. I know all about that. We had to cancel a show recently because of that. My son was sick. Actually, my son is still sick. I had to end the show early last night, but he's sleeping right now. So if he wakes up, I'll have to sign off. But yeah, so I thought that with Kenny not here, we're not doing fantasy, so. We haven't done a 2025 NFL mock draft yet in this draft season, so I thought it would make sense to go into that. I know the Super Bowl is coming up, and we have all next week to get into that game. Like we're going to do multiple picks videos and the DFS aspect of that too. So yeah, so we're gonna get into all that, but yeah, just figured like why not go through a 2025 NFL mock draft. I updated mine today. I'm gonna be adding a round four tomorrow, so you can check that out on the site. Before we get into it, please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit the link in the description for the merch store. As you can see, I am wearing a gray Walter football shirt. It's very, very fancy. I actually saw someone today and like, wow, that's the coolest shirt I've ever seen. And I was like, yeah, you can get it at the Walter Football Merch Store. Right? Actually, I'm just kidding. That didn't happen. But so you can get these shirts here. They're 25% off. Everything's 25% off except for the mug. I actually want to make a few more mugs. I have a few good ideas for that. So I will be getting to that shortly. There's like one or two things I have left to do. After the Super Bowl, I have like pretty much all of February to do stuff like that. So yeah, I'm gonna be adding to the merch store as well. But yeah, you get 25% off. You can go to Amazon, buy my books, Jerks the College Years, as the most recent one. I made fun of a lot of people I saw at Penn State during my 6 years there. So I think you guys might enjoy that. How the 2020 MVP was stolen is another book of mine. It's basically an expose about how Brett Favre tried to sabotage Aaron Rodgers 4 years ago. A lot of people don't know the story. I think you guys might get a kick out of it if you haven't read it yet. And it explains the genesis of the name No Cookie Jordan Love, so you can check that out. Also, please consider super chats, super stickers. That would be the best way to help support the show. We had a great super chat yesterday from John Sanders, 666 super chat, which is ominous, but still very very appreciated, very appreciated, John. Thank you so much. More recently, more recent than that, actually less recent than that. We had Alan Stafford with $10 super chat. Slew super chatted us 780 on the birth of his granddaughter. So hope all is going well there, Slew. But yeah, let's get into it. Also, if you guys want to ask me anything, like no one has to worry about getting canceled on here. I'm always like worried about like one of the co-hosts like getting in trouble with me because I can't get canceled, but like other people can. But yeah, I will answer anything, any questions you guys have. I'll be very truthful in everything. So I'll get into everything, and if you guys want to talk about something else, like something in the Super Bowl, if you guys want to switch gears or anything, like just let me know. I will get through the mock draft, but then we could talk about something else if you guys want. So I figure we'll kick things off here. So the Titans are drafting number one. I haven't taken Shedeur Sanders. Now the Titans said that they want a generational prospect with this pick, and I think people thought they were referring to Travis Hunter, and maybe they were, but I don't know. I mean, like, what else are they going to say? Like, yeah, they have the number one pick. Of course, they're going to want a generational talent. And they could think, like a team that doesn't have a quarterback like the Titans, they could fall in love with the quarterback, whether it's Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward, and they could think that he's a generational prospect. So I don't think it necessarily means that they're going to draft Travis Hunter. Um, they need a quarterback. Like, are they going to wait till round two to get Quinn Ewers? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Now, if they sign like Sam Darnold or in free agency or something, not that I think it's a good move, but if they do that, then I think Travis Hunter makes a lot of sense. But right now, they don't have a quarterback, and Shedeur Sanders, I would think, is the top quarterback prospect. I know some people like Cam Ward more, but they're the top two prospects. The only question I have here is if Deion Sanders wants his son to play in Tennessee, and I wonder about that because I know he was very critical of the Titans firing Rand Carthon. And I don't know if he's very happy with the replacement. So we'll see. He might orchestrate a trade, kind of like Archie Manning did. He even said it. Charlie Campbell actually reported it back in like November. So I think that a move can be made. Maybe the Giants, maybe Deion forces a trade to the Giants, and the Titans move from 1 to 3. But I don't know if I'm the Titans. If I move to 3, then I'm not getting quarterback. So because the Browns need one. Speaking of the Browns, I haven't taken Cam Ward. Deshaun, they can't even count on Deshaun Watson, who's like, I would never make this argument, but someone could say, okay, maybe Deshaun Watson finally reverts back to 100% next year. Well, we know that's not going to happen. He suffered a torn Achilles, so he's going to be out for 2025. So the Browns have nothing else to quarterback. Jameis Winston's even a free agent, so it just makes sense for the Browns to take a quarterback. John says they already have Will Levis mock draft and strategy. Sorry, John. I screwed up. How could I forget Will Levis? It only cost us like how many units? 10 units at the beginning of the year, plus the VIG with this stupid play at quarterback, like throwing underhanded passes, backward pitches for no reason. This guy was a mess. I still can't believe the Titans covered, or the Titans didn't cover that Week 1 game against the Bears. I'm really thinking about publishing a book called the Year of the Bad Beat, because it felt like this year. There's always bad beats, but it felt like this year there are more bad beats than I can ever remember. And it started in the preseason, like when we had our pick of the month on the Ravens-Eagles game, and there was a fumble in the last play of the game, and the Eagles kicked the field goal, and it went to, the divisional round of the playoffs where Jake Elliott missed 2 field goals. Like, it's just been all year with this stuff. I think it'd be a cool thing to write. I don't know exactly how I'd write it, but I do there might be some interest in it, because that bad beat section on Scott Van Pelt's SportsCenter show generally gains a lot of traction. People talk about it. If I'm not mistaken, I feel like Scott Van Pelt doesn't talk about bad beats in the NFL. Like, he sometimes hints at it, but I've never seen it unless there's a SportsCenter on Sunday night that I just don't see, because I'm watching the Sunday night game. Andrew's asking, how many Super Bowls do the Chiefs have to win in a row before they're minus money? In the preseason to win the next, if they go for a 4-peat, maybe a 5-peat, it's gonna be hard to, like, in the preseason, to justify minus on a team. But I mean, at some point, I guess it makes sense. I don't know. It depends what they do in the offseason. Like, if they, if they were to get like Tyreek Hill or something, I don't know if they could do that. But if they get Tyreek Hill and they get one of the top, if they get like Ronnie Stanley, who's also free agent, like suddenly, it's gonna be tough to justify like even 5-1 or 4-1. Like, you're gonna see some crazy number for sure. So yeah, like I said, it's all about how many more they win and also what they do in the offseason. So we'll get back to the mock draft. Number 3, the Giants. The poor Giants. They had to win that stupid game against the Colts. They're out of a quarterback. But maybe they're trying to tank for Archie Manning, who he may not come out. I don't know. It depends. Like, I've had some like Texas fans like yell at me for mocking Archie Manning in the 2026 draft, a mock draft on the site, and they're like, "There's no way he comes out after 2026." And I'm like, "Okay, you're probably right that he stays in school for 2 more years. Like, he doesn't need to come out. Like, he's obviously well off. Like, his whole family is." But I think I wouldn't say that he's 100% to go back. I think it really depends on who's drafting number 1, because he can make that decision, like what's best for him. Like, if the Titans are drafting number 1 again, well, actually Tennessee, I guess Peyton Manning went there, but still, I still think of like Tennessee's drafting 1, or Cleveland's drafting 1, or the Raiders drafting 1. I think Archie Manning would go back to school. But if it's the Giants drafting number 1, and you have Malik Neighbors and you have the team that his uncle played for, I think he might come out. I think it would make sense for him to do that. So I really depends. I think it depends on the circumstance. Anyway, the Giants can't get a quarterback here. Maybe they're the team that gets Darnold. They can go after Travis Hunter. They need help at receiver and corner. Travis Hunter obviously can play both. He's an amazing player. He's the best prospect in this class. Definitely a generational type prospect, but teams might think the quarterbacks are as well. So number 4, I had in my previous update, I had Tataroa McMillan here because the Patriots have nothing at receiver outside of Demario Douglas, who's just a solid slot receiver. But Charlie Campbell posted something in the Senior Bowl rumor page about the Patriots really liking Abdul Carter. They also need help at edge rusher, so it's not like they're addressing a position that's already filled. Like they lost Matthew Judon, so I think it makes sense for them to go after Abdul Carter if they think that he's the best prospect outside of Travis Hunter. I think they would probably pull the trigger. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Number 5, Jacksonville to round out the top 5. We get Will Johnson, the cornerback here. The Jaguars have really struggled against the pass for a long time. They need cornerback help. Tyson Campbell's good, but they need another corner. This could really help them, especially against like CJ Stroud if he bounces back. Let's see. Your 2024 bad beat book could begin with a prelude of the Mac Jones safety. Yes, yes. There were some awful beats in 2023. I think you're right on. I think we should talk about that as well. And just saying that would be crazy, but I think that could happen soon if they four-peat. I've never seen a minus money in the preseason. I've never seen that either. They were plus 750 after the Super Bowl last year, and I jumped on because the three-peat fix was already in. That was a good move, John. I personally, I never saw 750. I think I saw plus 600, and I even wrote on my futures page. I said, I really want to bet the Chiefs. I just want them to lose. Like in 2023 when they lost the Raiders on Christmas, they lost to the Packers on Sunday night. I was like, they're going to lose at some point. And when they do, and we get a good number, I will bet them. Like I was hoping for like a 750, which I like I said, I didn't see. The problem was they didn't lose; they just kept winning. And I wish the Broncos blocked that, or I wish that the Broncos hit that field goal, didn't get that field goal blocked. I wish the Raiders would have won on Black Friday. And so like that would have given us a decent opportunity. Instead, I just put bonus bet money on the Chiefs. So I have something on them, but I was really waiting for a great number, and we never saw it because they just kept on winning. It's kind of ridiculous. So, all right, let's get back to the mock. Number 6. So here we have Teterower of McMillan to the Raiders. The Raiders obviously lost Davante Adams. They need a number 1 receiver. So it makes sense to get McMillan. He's just like a freak of nature athlete. Like he's definitely worthy of going in the top 6. I'm sure Drake May is, if he heard these rumors from Charlie or whomever, I'm sure he's like pissed. He's like, man, why can't I get McMillan? We have to get an edge rusher. So I don't know where the Patriots are going to get a receiver, but the Raiders get McMillan. I'm sure they're going to be happy about that. Number 7, James Pierce to the Jets. They got Hassan Reddick, and there was that whole drama. Then he eventually played. He didn't do anything. Like he was pretty bad this past year. Not that Bryce Huff was any better. They both struggled this past year. And Reddick's free agent, so the Jets need another edge rusher. So they could take Pierce at number 7, or I'm sure they're hoping for Abdul Carter to fall to them, but I don't. It doesn't seem like that's going to happen now. Number 8, we have Mason Graham. Defensive tackle from Michigan. I know a lot of people are high on him. Charlie posted something about how some of his sources refer to Mason Graham as the Marshmallow Man because like his body is just so bad. But the Panthers, they were so horrible against the run last year. They really need help at the defensive tackle. I know they're going to get a player back from injury, K'Wan Short, but they need another body on the defensive line. So it makes sense to get Graham. Number 9, Azareye'h Thomas, cornerback from Florida State. I think it's up in the air as to like who the number 2 cornerback is. It could be him, or it could be Benjamin Morrison, or maybe or Amos. So like, well, we'll get into those guys, but I think the Saints are definitely looking for a cornerback. They traded Marshall Lattimore, and they have Kool-Aid McKinstry, but they don't really have anything else. So it makes sense for them to get another corner, especially because they have to keep going against Mike Evans twice per year. They have to go against Drake London twice per year. They need to be able to stop the pass. Number 10, Mykel Williams to the Bears. Bears fans always yell at me. They're like, "Why aren't you mocking us? A guard or center?" And I'm like, yeah, you can take Tyler Booker here. I don't know if like 10 is too early for a guard. I guess it's not because like Brandon Sheriff went to the Redskins in the top 5. So maybe I'll adjust that. I think Tyler Booker is someone I have going a little late in my mock draft. And I know like Caleb Williams was sacked so many times last year. So the Bears need to address their interior line. Their tackles are good. Just their center guard is just so bad. They have to fix it. So I might switch to Booker. But Michael Williams makes a lot of sense too. Like they didn't really have much of a pass rush last year outside of Montez Sweat, so they need to add another player for the defensive line too. Um, let's see. So John says, I don't think Rodgers wants a defensive end. Uh, that's true. And I think the first thing Ben Johnson fixes is the offensive line. Yeah, it makes sense. I might switch to Booker. I was just like, is 10 too early for Tyler Booker? And the more I hear, and Charlie posted something about this, like the more I don't think that's true. I think Booker could go 10. I wouldn't hate the pick. Number 11, Will Campbell to the 49ers. It's really up in the air as to who the number one tackle is. There's like three candidates: Kelvin Banks and um, uh, there's one other. We'll get to him soon. But yeah, the Niners they've Trent Williams, who missed 7 games last year. He's getting old, and so I think it makes sense to get a tackle for the future. Number 12, Ashton Jeanty going to the Cowboys. I feel like every mock draft has this, so I feel like as a contrarian, I kind of want to get away from it. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. The Cowboys could re-sign Rico Dowdle. Maybe they sign some players and they don't draft Jeanty, or maybe they draft a running back in the second round. I don't think Jerry Jones is going to make the same mistake again as like not taking a running back last year, which was just a big mistake. But Jeanty is the best running back in this class. The Cowboys would really stand to benefit from him. But they have other big issues, so I don't think he would solve everything. Number 13, Kelvin Banks to the Dolphins. Here's another tackle who could be the first pick. Terran Armstead is just so injury prone, and then right tackle is a big weakness. So they actually have like two areas of concern there. They're obviously going to be hoping that Armstead could play all 17 games one of these years, but it hasn't happened yet. Still, like they could start Banks at right tackle, eventually move into left tackle. Number 14, Trey Amos. Here is another cornerback who could be the second one off the board. The Colts were, I think they were in position to maybe take Terrion Arnold last April, but Laiatu Latu fell to them, so that they didn't need to. So still, cornerback was a big problem for them. They have a good slot corner, but their outside corners were pretty bad last year. So like Juju Brents was the number one corner. Like they need help there. Number 15, Benjamin Morrison. Speaking of cornerbacks, I mentioned him too. He could be the number 2 corner off the board. The Falcons only have AJ Terrell there. They really have nothing else to corner. Like they're very weak at the position outside of Terrell. So I think that they could definitely go for a corner here. And then Mike Green going to the Cardinals. The Cardinals really have issues on the defensive line. It's been that way since they lost J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones. Mike Green, this might be a little high for Mike Green. And so if I move Booker to 10, I think Michael Williams could go here or maybe a little earlier than that. But I think this might be his floor. But yeah, Arizona definitely needs a defensive end. Falcons will take the best quarterback available. I could see that. Yeah, that was. It's funny. It's funny how that worked out. Like, it did actually work out for them because Kirk Cousins was so bad. So they did make a mistake. They made a huge mistake last year, and that was giving Kirk Cousins $100 million. But at the time, they made the move, and so you have to wonder, like, why would they take Michael Penix Jr. And like that was my whole conspiracy theory was that they signed Cousins for $100 million. They're all happy, and then they saw him in practice, and they're like, "Oh man, this guy sucks. Like, we need to get a quarterback." And they fell in love with Penix. So, they were gonna take Laiatu Latu until the final day. That's confirmed by Charlie sources. So, yeah, it's a very bizarre, circumstances. Surprised a lot of people, but like I said, it did end up working out for them. So. I don't know, but maybe they will take another quarterback. Alan says, with the understanding that this year's quarterbacks are nowhere as good as last year, which top team might take the best player available and punt quarterback from next year? I think Cleveland's most likely, except for which MG. Yeah, I think Cleveland makes a lot of sense too. Like, although, like, I don't know how much they want to put their fans through that. At some point, the GM might just be, I don't know, like. The GM might just be like, man, am I going to get fired if we suck so much? I've said this before. If I were the Browns next year, I would just start Jameis Winston for 17 games. Doesn't matter how many interceptions he throws. If he throws 40 picks, that's great. Like, it's all entertainment value because like one of two things is going to happen. One is he's going to have some great games and you're going to win, and two, he's going to throw so many interceptions that they're going to be the worst team in the NFL, and they're going to have their pick of a top quarterback next year. And next year's class looks better, although people always say that. So I think I think you're right, Alan. I think the Browns make a lot of sense. Who they said they won't trade no matter what. Yeah, I think you're right about Cleveland. I think that makes a lot of sense too. And yeah, I mean Tennessee, you can make the argument for too. Like maybe they do take the generational prospect, and they only think Travis Hunter is that. But Will Levis was just so bad last year. I don't know how they could justify it, but if they are punting, it makes sense to punt for Arch Manning, who like his uncle played at Tennessee in college, so there is a connection there. All right, let's get to the second round here. Let's type this in. And 17 is, as this loads, decides to load. This is the problem with having a million tabs open. I sometimes have pages prepared here. I don't know why this is giving so much problem. Like the Picks page doesn't have these issues. I think the ad team puts a lot of ads on the mock draft on purpose because they know it has the most traffic. I'm not in control of any of the ads here. They are. Anyway, so we have 17 Bengals. Luther Burden goes here. This obviously is contingent on what happens with T. Higgins. There's some thought that Higgins might take less money to come back because they want to keep Burrow plus Chase plus Higgins together. But he could also leave him. He could be the number one receiver elsewhere. And if he leaves, suddenly the Bengals need a number two receiver, and that could be Luther Burden, who could definitely go earlier than this. Number 8, Nick Scarton goes to the Seahawks. Seahawks have had just a lackluster pass rush for a long time, so I think they could definitely go after a defensive lineman with this pick. They could also go after Jihad Campbell at 19 to Tampa. Tampa Bay might lose Lavonte David finally. Like he's in his mid-30s now. There's definitely a chance he comes back, but they did miss Devin White last year too. So they need help at linebacker regardless of whether David comes back. If David leaves or retires, then this is like red alert at linebacker. Like they'll have nothing. So Campbell makes a lot of sense for them. He's really athletic for a linebacker. I think he's a first rounder. Number 20, Tyler Warren, top tight end prospect in this class, goes in Denver. Denver's had nothing at tight end for a while. They had Greg Dulcich have like a decent half season. But for some reason, Sean Payton just hates Greg Dulcich. I don't understand why. But the fact that he does hate him means that he's not playing. That Lucas Kroll is some guy who's like a little interesting, but again, he's not that talented. There's Adam Troutman who's just a blocker. So the Broncos could go after just an elite tight end prospect and really give Bo Nix someone to throw to. I think that would be a good idea. Sue asking Clint Kubiak, OC to Seahawks. I didn't see grade write-up. I didn't see that news. I don't know if it happened today. If it did happen after like 4 o'clock, I wouldn't have seen it just because I was with the kids. Like I said, my son is sick too. So I had to actually like cancel swim lessons. Actually, this is the last day. I don't know if you read my jerks of the week. This is the last day he would have had swim lessons with British Swim School. But he hates the instructors. Like he always says, like I want a girl swim coach, or the one male swim coach he liked left, the guy who like was basically a hippie. But he like I don't know what happened. Like when we first joined this place, it was all female instructors, and like there's like one guy in the pool. Like now it's the opposite. It's all guys, and then there's one girl. There's also like a trans person. I don't know if it's man pretending to be woman or woman pretending to be man, but like, I don't know like what's going on there. I think the manager has a crush on me, but I think she's making some terrible decisions. Maybe that says something about me, but I don't know. But anyway, the point is, my son was sick, so he was kind of a mess. So I didn't get a chance to look at the news. I didn't see it. But I will look and I will. I'll definitely grade it after the show's over. It says I think the generational prospect that Tennessee would be more likely to take is Abdul Carter. than Travis Hunter, especially because Harold Landry could be a cap casualty after 2025. Yeah. I don't think that's crazy. I mean, teams are pretty stoked about him. They view him as a very talented prospect. The Patriots are in love with him, so I think that would kind of. I wonder if that would happen, and that might force Travis Hunter to number 4 if the other two teams take quarterbacks. It'd be kind of interesting. Sue says was hired 126. Okay, I totally missed that. Then what day was 126? Oh, it was a Sunday. That was because the games were on, so I didn't. That's the reason why I didn't see it. Okay. Thanks, Lou. I will grade it after this. All right, let's keep going here. Number 21, Alfred Collins to the Steelers. Cameron Hayward is 35 or 36 years old. He doesn't have much time left, although he was great last year. I mean, still he's playing at a high level, but he's going to fall off at some point, and the Steelers, they know that. Like, they're going to have to draft the defensive lineman for the future. Number 22, Kenneth Grant. I think this guy could go much earlier than this. Maybe I'm going to put him at 16 to Arizona if I move stuff around. But the Chargers have a pretty weak middle of the defensive line. They have great edge rushers, but the defensive tackles are pretty weak, so they have to fix this area. They were pretty weak against the run last year. Number 23, Jordan Burch to the Packers. They need a pass rusher. Burch is a pretty athletic player. He can get to the quarterback, and he's one of these like high upside guys the Packers seem to like. So I could see them going after him here. But yeah, they were in the bottom half of pressure rate last year. They had a blitz. They didn't blitz that often, so I guess that sort of makes sense. But still, they need to improve their pass rush. It was pretty weak to close out the year. Number 24, Nick Amanawari, safety here for the Vikings. Harrison Smith is going to be retiring soon. He's declined a little bit, so the Vikings need a safety to take over for him for the future. Here's Tyler Booker. I was talking about him. 25 to the Texans. The Texans, I feel like, would be pretty upset if they couldn't get him because they're so weak at guard. But I don't know. Like I was saying before, I think Booker could definitely go much higher than this. So I think in my next update, I might have Booker going as high as 10. And that way the Bears fans could finally stop yelling at me. I feel like I'm getting yelled at by every NFC North team, by the way. Like, Vikings fans always yell at me because I never have their team high enough, and I end up being right all the time because their team always loses in the first round. So they always yell at me. The Packers fans are yelling at me because of the spat I got into with Christian Watson's dad, whatever his name is. I forgot his name already. We had that like shouting match on Twitter where he called me classless and I called him clueless. And then actually the Lions fans don't yell at me. I think the Lions fans know that we were first on their bandwagon. So at least 3 of the 4 teams in the NFC North that don't like me. There are a couple games going on. Yeah. Like, why do the teams do this? Like, I feel like the NFL should be better at like breaking news because like sometimes you see like a coach fired at like midnight or like a player signed at like 1 a.m. It's like, what are you doing? Like try to break the news in the middle of the day when people could soak it up, and then like people will tune into NFL Network and you'll get more revenue that way. More ad like you get better ratings, you get better ad revenue eventually. I don't understand like why but the NFL doesn't like streamline its information. I know that like it's hard to get out like if something happens, but maybe the stuff should happen between like 9 a.m. and 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. Like, I don't know. It's hard to like shut stuff down if deals are made, but still, it's just a better way to capitalize on these sort of situations. Does a weak draft class for quarterbacks and receivers. It's a weak draft class overall. Defensive linemen, there's some good pass rushers, some good tackles, but overall, this class is pretty bleak. There are a lot of guys who went back to school. I think next year's class might be really good because so many players went back, and it's hard to fault them with the NIL. Like they're making money, so it's not like the old days where they had to kind of like capitalize on a great season by going pro. Now they don't need to do that because they just make money. So it worked out for them, I guess. All right, 26, Omar Norman Lott, defensive tackle here is a big guy. The Rams, they had a pretty weak nose tackle last year. They could definitely go after new nose tackle. They struggle against run. I mean, we saw what Saquon Barkley did to them in 2 games. So they could. I feel like this pick makes a lot of sense for them. Number 27, Jalen Walker to the Ravens. They didn't have very good pass rush last year. Their defense was so overrated last year. Just talked about it all year. Their cornerbacks were terrible. They couldn't cover the middle of the field when Patrick Queen gone, and then their edge rush was pretty pedestrian. So they get Jalen Walker here as a pretty high upside prospect. I know he's like a love-hate guy. There's some sources Charlie talked to who definitely think that he's going to be first rounder, and then other guys think that he's definitely going to be a second day guy. So it really depends on how the Ravens view him, but I could see them taking him at number 27. Speaking of edge rushers, Brady Swinson to the Lions. I think this is pretty obvious. When Aiden Hutchinson went down, the pass rush really took a hit. They signed Darius Smith, but he wasn't really enough. And then Ali McNeil got hurt, and that was the end of it. But still, I think they're going to be interested in an edge rusher at some point, like first or second round or free agency. Just makes so much sense. If Hutchinson goes down again. Number 29, Redskins going Alec Ayo Manor, a receiver from Stanford. I feel like another obvious pick. They don't have anything at receiver outside of McLaurin. Like they had De'Ami Brown, Noah Brown, Olamide Zaccheaus last year. Those guys are all free agents. So maybe some of them return, but you can't really count on that. And even if they do, like none of them is the number 2 guy. So I think the Redskins could take the number 2 guy here, or they have the cap space to sign T. Higgins. I think that's the guy they go after. That's a scary team. You have Jaden Daniels, unless he regresses to McLaurin and T. Higgins, and imagine if they get they still have Zach Ertz, I guess, but they can maybe get a younger tight end, and then they want to tackle as well. This offense is already great last year. It could be so much scarier next year. Number 30, the Bills getting Malachi Starks as safety. I think John Sanders would approve. Taylor Rapp is always injured. DeMar Hamlin, is pretty mediocre player. Safety was a pretty weak spot for the Bills last year, so they can get Malachi Starks here. I don't know if they actually go after a safety. I think the pick makes sense for me, but it seems like the Bills value the positional value. So that would say like edge rusher or something else, or receiver maybe, but I don't know. Starks, I felt like was just too much of a good value to pass up, because I thought he can go like late teens or early 20s. I thought that like number 30, maybe they just take him because he's just too good. The Eagles taking Jonah Savaina here, tackle from Arizona. And if you're wondering like why tackle, they have Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata. The issue, not an issue, but I guess like one thing is that Lane Johnson is going to be 35 soon, and the Eagles are notorious just for building for the future. Like we've seen it. Like they took Jordan Davis when they knew Fletcher Cox was going to retire. They took not only Cam Jurgens but also Landon Dickerson when they knew Jason Kelce was going to retire. Like they know Lane Johnson's not going to last forever, so they need a right tackle for the future. And so I think that going tackle just makes so much sense, and they can kind of redshirt Savaina here unless there's an injury, and then have him ready to go whenever Lane Johnson just hangs up his cleats. So and the Eagles are they're notorious for taking linemen, whether it's offensive or defensive anyway. And I thought that this is a good value pick too. He was one of the guys I thought who could be the number 1 tackle. Like there's a chance he goes 10, 11, something like that. So, I think it's a great pick for the Eagles. And then speaking of tackles, number 32, Emory Jones to the Chiefs. They had such a dreadful, or I guess not had, they do have a dreadful tackle situation. They had to have their one of the guards, Joe Tooney, play left tackle throughout the year. Is just a disaster. So they have to address the left tackle situation. And we'll see. I don't know. I think that could really affect them in the Super Bowl. It really hasn't yet. Obviously, they kept on winning. But at some point, it has to hurt them, right? Like it did in the Super Bowl against the Buccaneers, like their poor protection. Now they do have a great guard center guard, but their tackles aren't that good, and so the Eagles could capitalize on that. So we'll see. Um, Johnson safety is not premium position, so doubt Bean does it. Yeah, that's what I was wondering, John. But I just thought that Starks just such a great value at 30 when he could have gone like 17 to 21. Um, I don't, but you could be right. Like the Bills are notorious for drafting with positions with high value. Sue says not even halftime, and this SGA guys are I felt like he didn't even sit on the bench. So he had 21 in the first half, or the first quarter. It's just ridiculous. And like he's a guy who plays like 37 minutes a game. I don't know why like he doesn't he hasn't been resting at all. Just pretty tilting. Hopefully the Warriors cover. They're down 10. They're 9.5 point dogs. So they could definitely do it. I'm seeing him at 31 now. So we definitely lost this one, which sucks. I don't know. Like the Warriors are usually good against point guards, and he's averaged 29.5 against them. And like he has 31 in the first half. I don't know. Just like an outlier game, I guess, but that sucks. But like I said, hopefully we go 1-1 tonight with the Warriors covering. At least we don't have to sweat it out, right? Owen says, I think Washington will sign Chris Godwin. Says slot receiver and Higgins will go to New England. Cincinnati will most likely have to choose between Higgins and Jamar Chase, which isn't easy. Well, I mean, they give Chase his contract, so I think they did. So it would be, they already chose Chase. I think so. And I don't know. I think Chase is a lot better than Higgins. So maybe not like a lot better, but I think he's definitely better. So I mean, Chase is definitely the guy. Higgins going to New England. We'll see. I mean, they do have the cap space. I hope Higgins goes to a good offense. I guess maybe with Drake May, it's possible that it could be good. And Chris Godwin makes sense too. I mean, Washington is so much cap space. They can get both guys. They can, like, what if they get both Godwin and Higgins? Like that offense will be so insane. John says Patriots have Kayshon Boutte, their final receiver. Yeah, of course. I always love like Kayshon Boutte had like a great DK performance like for his price, and then I played him the next week and he got like 0. And then the next week I didn't play him, and then he had like another great fantasy performance. So it's like I'm not a fan of Kayshon Boutte for that reason. So I just wanted to check on Chase here, see if yeah, I guess okay, yeah, he does not have his contract yet. So for some reason I thought they did. I don't know. I guess I'm misremembering. So yeah, Owen says they didn't give Chase his contract yet. I do think they will choose Chase though. I mean, he's just definitely better. Probably trade out of the pick with the Chiefs, who will take that future 14-time All-Pro safety. Yep, yeah, that'll happen. Xavier Worthy would have been a nice pick for the Bills. Yeah. That's the rough thing. I don't know, but yeah, maybe he'll move to the second round and then take his safety. Carter could go to Cleveland too if they agree to trade Myles Garrett to a contender, although they say they won't. Well, yeah, it's smart for them to say that they won't because they'd lose leverage. It's like, hey guys, we're trading Garrett, come and get him. They won't get any leverage from that. But it makes sense. Yeah, if they trade Garrett, they could definitely take Abdul Carter. Yeah, what if Hunter and Carter go 1-2? It's definitely possible. The quarterbacks aren't going to blow anyone away, and then the Giants would be in position to take whichever one they want. I assume Sanders, and then maybe the Patriots at 4 wouldn't take quarterback, and neither would Jacksonville at 5. But then you have the Raiders at 6. The Raiders would get Cam Ward in that scenario. The Raiders really wanted Penix last year. They thought they were going to get him, and the Falcons broke their hearts. But they could finally get the quarterback if that were the case. Alan says, by the way, Bears fan here, not yelling at you. Rumbles in Chicago. We are liking Genty at 10. Ew. Yeah, that'd be pretty rough to take a running back at 10. Genty's a great running back prospect, but you can get running backs anywhere, even UDFA. Like you can get running backs there. It's just been so proven. I wouldn't like Genty at 10. I would not grade that very favorably. And And I imagine if I graded that poorly, I'm sure other Bears fans would yell at me. But I appreciate you, Alan, for not yelling at me. Like the one Bears fan not yelling at me. I've said there's one Bears fan today who like questioned what I was saying about Caleb Williams. I said he has a low football IQ, and he's like, "What do you mean he has low football IQ?" I was like, "Do you know how like, first of all, we saw him at the end of those Lions and Seahawks games. It just did not look like he knew what he was doing, or what the game situation was. But like the fact that he holds the ball forever, just doesn't know what's happening in the pocket. Um, I I think like it's not a crazy thing to say that he has a low football IQ. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no Chase isn't signed yet. Bengals are notoriously cheap, so it's a done deal. Yeah, exactly. The Bengals going on the spending spree. I saw today that I don't know who someone tweeted that the Bengals can't afford Trey Hendrickson, and I almost retweet or quote tweeted and included Kenny on that because I was like, yeah, they can afford him. They just don't want to. They just don't want to. It's as Kenny would say, the cap is fake. He built a whole website about it, and he even says it's not really fake, but there are easier ways to circumvent it as long as the owner is willing to dish out the money. But the Bengals owner is not willing to dish out the money. We've seen that time and again. That's why this team is just their defense is regressed so much. They just let all their good defensive players go. Chidobe Awuzie, DJ Reader, Jesse Bates. Like they had such a good defense a few years ago. They just let all those guys go, and they haven't replaced them. Like Dax Hill is like their only good prospect they drafted in the early rounds on the defensive side of the ball. So yeah, it's just it's a shame. It's a shame for Joe Burrow. I feel like he's just going to waste his career there, and he's gonna have seasons where he throws for 5,000 yards, and they're going to either sneak into the playoffs as like the 7th seed, or they're going to miss the playoffs like this year. Um, they just don't have the talent. The only way they turn around, I think, is if they have some great drafts, because we know they're not going to spend. So if they hit the draft picks, then yeah, it could work out. But they're just not going to spend. And then like once those guys get to their second contracts, they're going to be gone, just as we saw with those other guys I just mentioned. My only retort to Kenny about how the cap is, don't the Saints win the Super Bowl every year? I guess because they just don't have good players. Like Derek Carr is not going to win anything. Their offensive line situation is just always bad. I just saw the super chat. John Sanders, 222. Put it on AMC stock. Well, it's not. It's like $1 short of buying a share. I think AMC shares are 322 or 323 or something. Yeah, which is really it's just really 32 cents because they did the 1-for-10 reverse split. Yes, do not buy AMC. That is financial advice. Do not buy AMC as long as Adam Aaron's the CEO. If Adam Aaron steps down or retires or whatever, and they get a new CEO, maybe you can try to do it. I said this on Saturday. I wasn't even joking. I said I could turn this company around in 2 to 3 years. I really think I could. I think it seems easy. I mean, like Cinemark is another movie theater chain. They are profitable every quarter. Just like do what they're doing. Like why is one theater chain thriving financially and the other is just nearing bankruptcy? It's obviously the CEO's problem, and it's not COVID. Like people blame COVID. Well, first of all, if it was all COVID's problems, then like Cinemark wouldn't be profitable every quarter. And second, if you look at AMC's financials even before COVID, they were on the decline. Like they were a company that was tanking. I feel like the only reason they haven't gone bankrupt yet is because the retail traders they bailed out AMC with like that the whole short squeeze phenomenon, and it did squeeze. It squeezed from it was $2 on January 25th, 2024 or January 25th, 2021. And then it rose to like 60 or I think it was like $72 at one point in July or like early June of 2021. So it squeezed to that. And then it's just been on just a sharp decline ever since. The insiders, Adam Aaron and all the board members, they sold in the 30s and 40s. That was a clear time to get out of it. I didn't listen. There's propaganda out there saying that like, oh, it was all planned. Like, yeah, okay. That was so dumb on my part just to hold. I thought that this is the issue. So I held AMC for way too long because I don't know if I screwed up. I don't know. You guys can tell me if you think I screwed up. So with GameStop, I got into GameStop in May of 2020 at $5 a share, and then I bought more shares in July of 2020 when it was like $3.80 a share, and then I just kept buying shares like as time went on. And I recommended the stock in September when it was like $10 a share, and then it rose on January 25th, 2021. The GameStop went from $65 to $150 in the morning. I remember just waking up, lying in bed, just like looking at the stop price, just like soaring. It was like, man, how high is this going to go? I have all these shares. Like, when do I sell? And then just start dropping 150, 145, 140, 135, 130, etc. It got down to like 105. And like, that was the number, as the mental number I had in my head. I was like, if this goes to 105, I think I might sell, just because like, what if it just keeps dropping? I want to make my money and just get out. And maybe if this keeps going down, I'll rebuy, which eventually did. But I sold at 105, and I felt smart by the end of the day because GameStop dropped all the way to like $70 by close. I was like, man, I got out at 105. Like, it wasn't the best number, but I made a smart move. The next day, on Tuesday, it hovered around 70. It didn't really move that much. I think it closed at like 75. And then Wednesday, this is the big day. Wednesday, Elon Musk tweeted about GameStop, about the short squeeze stuff. And then I think Chamath Palihapitiya did as well. He's a billionaire. So both those guys were talking about it. But Elon Musk was really the main catalyst because obviously he has a huge following. And so GameStop went from 75-ish to like 300 on Wednesday. And I felt like such an idiot. And then on Thursday, it went from, I think it closed like 280 or something on Wednesday. It went to 480. So I'm here, like, I sold at 105 and I see it go to 480. I'm like, holy crap. Like, yeah, I made out well, but like, this is life-changing money it could have made if I held for 3 more days. But that on January 28th that's the day that Robinhood and a lot of the brokerages did this, maybe all of them, but Robinhood was first. They took away the buy button for I think it was spelled out Bang Ken. It was BlackBerry, AMC, Nokia, GameStop, COS, Express, and Naked Inc., which turned out to be something they rebranded. There's no longer Naked; it's something else now. They all 7 of those companies you couldn't buy on Robinhood, and then eventually you couldn't buy them anywhere. I couldn't buy more shares of GameStop at on E-Trade. Now I tried. I wasn't even going to because the price was so high. I just wanted to see if I could buy 1 share, and it wouldn't let me. Actually, try calling E-Trade, and I just got a busy signal. Like, they wouldn't even answer. So like, that was so dirty. So like, on January 28th, 2021, no one could buy any shares of those 7 companies. And so obviously, if you can only sell, then the price is going to go down. I mean, no one's buying, it can't go up. So yeah, it just plummeted. And then GameStop eventually bounced back. GameStop fell all the way to like 45, I want to say. I rebought it like 55 or 60. This is pre-split. Now that would be like 15 now because they had a 4-for-1 split. So I rebought it like 60-ish. And I saw in March, I didn't buy as many shares, but in March it went up to like 320. So I sold half my shares, and then it dropped back down again. And then I still have the shares now. And I'm selling covered calls on them and stuff like that, which I'll definitely do a video on because I keep saying this, like, people think I'm like some crazy guy with a sign in the middle of the street. They give out free money like this. Like, the stock market gives you free money if you have enough money in the stock market. Like, they just give you money, like, for no added risk. There's always gonna be risk. Like, you hold the stock, it could go down. There's always risk there, but no, there's no added risk to this. They just give you money, and people don't know about it. And I talk to people who've invested for decades, and they're like, covered calls, what's that? Like I was talking to my dentist today, and it's not like a great example because I talked about that McDonald's thing. We thought a burger is $12. I actually think he was confused with Five Guys. But he told me like he's he invests a lot of his money in in the stock market. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'm doing cover calls. He's like, well, what's that? And so actually sent him some videos on it. And so many people don't know about it. So I'm gonna do a whole video on it one of these Saturdays after the Super Bowl's over. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I might actually write a book on that too. I think there's so much to cover. There's like a lot of strategies. Like like I said, you can just get the free money, but there are ways to optimize it too. Like you can like you can sell a cover call and then like buy it back and like then sell it again at a cheaper price. I call it tapering. I don't know if there's like an official word for it, but that's what I call it. So yeah. So I'm definitely looking forward to that video that we're gonna have about this trading. Slew says, does Pelosi's portfolio include condom stocks? So obviously referring to the how much was it? $5 billion on condoms or something, or was it 50 billion? I can't exactly remember. Wow, that's good. One of my from my tooth extractions, one of my stitches fell out, which is supposed to happen. So I don't think I don't know if there are any condoms headed over there. Like they said, like they spend this much money. It's all money laundering, obviously. Like there's no reason to spend that much money on condoms for Gaza. Like it just doesn't make sense. And like a lot of people there, their religion might even be against it. So just I like this is like 10 out of 10 money laundering scheme. Like Ukraine is obviously money laundering as well. Like this isn't like that's not obvious to most people to like a lot of people. It should be like this is like obviously money laundering. Like if they could do like a show about this, like about like we're selling all these condoms. Like we sold billions of dollars of condoms. Like wait, who's buying these? Like obviously you're laundering money here. Just how did Robinhood continue to be allowed to be a company after that? They had to cost people billions of dollars. Yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea how they didn't get in trouble for it. They had a hearing. Their CEO is like some Russian guy with long hair. He testified, and like nothing happened from it. Nothing. I think it's because I think like the hedge fund managers at like Citadel, which is Ken Griffin, and I think the Susquehanna CEO. I think they all like colluded with Robinhood and the other brokerages to kind of put a stop to it, because I heard that I forget who it was. Is some guy who works at like Interactive Brokerages, I think. He said that if they didn't take away the buy button, GameStop would have hit multiple thousands of dollars a share. And it's true, because there just would have been a cascade of anyone who was caught up in the short squeeze. They would have gotten just run over. It would have been a bloodbath for those hedge funds. Like they would be out of business. They'd owe like infinite money. Like they'd just be so screwed. So they almost had to do it. But I don't see how anyone could trust Robinhood. Like my cousin, I was talking to him about stocks, and I was like, oh, what brokerage you use? And he's like, Robinhood. I'm like, how are you using Robinhood? Like seriously, like have you not heard that they take away the buy button? Like they did that then. Like what if they do something else like that? Like how do you trust these people? And I know E-Trade did it as well, but like the other brokerages did that too. But Robinhood was first. And I don't know how people trust them. That's crazy. Let's see. Shawnte Spencer is better than Travis Hunter. I don't know about that. Caleb runs to the sideline nearest the nail salon. 50 million. Okay, it's 50 million. I don't know where it came up with 50 billion. 50 million. Yeah, still insane amount of money. Obviously money laundering. There's no question about it. John says, "Wow, there's a plane crash tragedy that just happened with 64 people on it. A jet hit the helicopter. I wonder if Zach Wilson was driving the jet. Yeah, that's. I think did it just happen? I thought I saw a wasn't it a plane crash hitting a DC a DC police helicopter? Was that it or something else? Because I saw that in the news a few hours ago, but I'm not sure if this is that. The plane crash is a tragedy. I can't help feeling that DEI was the underlying cause. You always have to wonder that, and it's kind of ridiculous that we even have to think about that, but we do. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that was the story though. If like I hope there wasn't another plane crash because I saw that. Like I said, I saw that is an American Eagle plane hitting a Washington D.C. police department helicopter. So that sucks. That people die from that. It's terrible, but yeah, I don't know. It's really sucks. Um, it says you made me a mint on GameStop, so major thanks there. Tax burden was sweet, but no joke. Best short-term stock advice I've ever taken. Thanks, Alan. Well, I'm glad you were able to profit from that. That GameStop run was awesome, man. I just remember every day, like just looking at the stock, just like staring at it and like looking at all the news, like listening or like watching what everyone was saying on Stock Twits. Like there all those bears on Stock Twits just be it's like they would make these arguments that would just be dead wrong about the stock. Like they still do that now. Like I still see on Stock Twits where people are like, "Oh, GameStop's heading for bankruptcy." I'm like, "How? They have $5 billion in cash and no debt. Like, they're like the last company that's going to go bankrupt. They have no financial obligations to worry about." Something did happen today with GameStop. Ryan Cohen moved all of his shares that he owns from RC Ventures, Ryan Cohen Art Ventures, to his own personal name, and I believe that he moved his shares out of the country. I wonder if that means there's going to be another squeeze, and then he wants them there because if he sells his shares, then he won't have to pay tax on it. I don't know. I mean, he's Canadian anyway, but still, I don't know. I don't know what that means. There could mean nothing. It just could be a tax thing that he's doing. I don't know. But I thought that was somewhat interesting. So I I still love GameStop. I mean, like I said, there's so much to like about this company. They have $5 billion cash. They have no debt. They have a CEO who loves the company. It's his baby. He takes no salary. This guy, like, compare that to Adam Aaron from AMC. Like Adam Aaron, he's made more money than AMC has made in the past 7 years. Like that's insane. Ryan Cohen doesn't make a single dime from GameStop because outside of his shares, because he doesn't need to. He's a billionaire. Like this guy loves video games, and yeah, I mean, and like I said, it's baby. He has full control over the investments on in the money, which like he's made like part of the reason why he's a billionaire in the first place is because he made a crap ton of money on Apple. So this guy knows how to invest money. I think he's waiting for the stock market to crash so he can invest the $5 billion in in stocks, or maybe he's waiting for Bitcoin to crash so he can buy that up. I think he's just like biding his time and waiting for great deals to happen. He's obviously like a smart dude. He's seems like a good person. It's always hard to tell, but like just from everything I've heard, I've never heard any negative things about him. Um, and he turned Chewy into $1 billion company, so he definitely knows what he's doing. And I just there's just so much to like about it. And while you hold shares, you can sell covered calls because the premiums are through the roof. So you can just get free money. You can use that free money to buy more shares, which I've been doing in my Roth accounts and my other IRA accounts because there's no taxes there. Yeah, so I still love GameStop. I don't know if it's like major squeeze potential. It could be. But I think it's more now. It's like more of a long-term investment where I think that it'll just be steady increase every year, and yeah, it doesn't have a dividend, but the cover calls are basically so much better than the dividend. Like we're talking like if you see a stock that has like 7% dividend, people will be like, oh, I like that. It makes 7% per year. That sounds great. With these covered calls in GameStop, you make like 90%. It's insane. Like it's just crazy. I can't believe that people don't know about this. They just give you free money. It's unbelievable. Um, Black Hawk helicopter hit a commuter flight that was on approach to Reagan. Yeah, was that the Washington D.C. Police helicopter, or I don't know. I mean, so I guess it was something else. That sucks if there's two things. What's up, Walter Football? Chiefs or the limit or what? Uh, um, I'm waiting for that crap to crash as well, and I'm not talking Tesla auto drive, but the mother of all dips. Yeah, I mean, look, what's his name? The guy predicted the housing crash. I'm blanking on his name, but he's been calling for the stock market to crash for a while. I think everything is inflated. The problem is with this, and like people are like, why does the stock market keep going up? It's because our money value keeps going down. They keep printing 500. The Federal Reserve prints $540 million a year, a day, not a year. Let's just a year. Is a day. Like that. What that means, our money every single day is worth less and less. So obviously, things have to be worth not worth more, but like compared to the dollar, it increases in price just through inflation. So, it's just natural that the stock market would go up. Yeah. So I just think that I don't know if there's gonna be a crash. Like there could be. I just feel like as long as this inflation keeps happening, like the value, or not, I keep saying value, but the price of the stocks just it makes sense for them to keep going up. And I keep like I see so many people say like, oh, I like such a great economy, or my 401k is worth so much now, and I'm like, it's not, no, it's your dollar's worth nothing. It's like, yeah, it looks like it's worth a lot, but like those dollars, they aren't worth nearly as much as they used to be. It's all relative. Um, Costco went from 500 to 1,000 one year. I didn't see their numbers double. It is definitely inflated. Yeah, for 100%. Yeah, yeah. Every big cap stock that doesn't have financial issues, they've all gone up, and it's all because of inflation. At some point they have to realize their gains and re-enter at a cheaper price point. Yeah, look, I said, like I said, there could be a crash. I would be surprised. Bitcoin crashes and then rebounds. So, yeah, I mean, like it wasn't too long ago that Bitcoin dropped to like 19K. It was what, 60K, and I remember this because I was talking to this guy at the gym. We're in the hot tub, and he's just like, I actually mentioned this guy in Jerks of the Week. He was the dad of this girl that he kept trying to like peddle to people. Like he's like talking to people about like, hey, he's a Russian guy, so like, you want to date my daughter? They kept saying like daughter, not daughter. And he said that like his daughter was in med school. And then like I actually met her because I saw that she was talking with him, and I was like, oh, is that your dad? She says, yeah. And I was like, I wanted to chit chat with her just to like get the background on this so I could write about Jerks of the Week. I'm like, oh, what do you do? She's like, I don't do anything. I'm like, oh, you're not in school or anything? She's like, no, I just sell stuff on eBay. I'm like, why did your dad say you're in med school? I didn't ask her that, but anyway, this guy. The point is, this guy. He was like, my son, he's so smart. I was like, why? He's like, he buy Bitcoin for 60K. I'm like, oh, okay, that's so he's buying at the top. It just didn't say that. And then the price of Bitcoin dropped to 19K. And I'm like, I wouldn't say this if I saw him. I'm like, dude, your son could have bought 3 Bitcoin, not one. But I mean, I don't know if his son panic sold. If he didn't, then he's making out pretty well right now. Not as well as he could have if he waited, but still. Yeah, I don't know. Costco is cheap pizza. That's true. So it says it just paid $18.50 to have a new H2O tank installed, and they don't make them like they used to. Yeah, I hear you, Slu. I'm out 5K from this water heater that broke right here, this door, right here. Yeah, I came down it was a week ago from today. I took a step on this carpet here, and like I felt my foot was wet. And at first I was mad at my wife because I thought that she allowed the kids to like run around here like with like I assumed that they were out in the snow and their shoes got wet and they were running around, and so I was kind of like pissed at her. And then I took another step. I'm like, oh, this is wet too. What's going on here? Like at first I thought like the ground beneath my house froze, and then it unfroze, and I thought that was the water. And then I heard like this weird noise from this room back here, and I was like, oh no, it's not the water heater, is it? And I opened the door, and it's like all flooded. I was like, oh, come on. So yeah, so here he is. It was five. It was actually technically $4,950. So it sucks. Yeah, what do you do? Do you also buy SP 500 index funds? Or you just buy individual stocks? Yeah, I just buy. I don't like index funds. I like individual stocks. So you can sell cover calls on them. Like I said, we're gonna do a whole video on this on a Saturday with Tom. And then like I also want to write a book about it too. Yeah, just being able to sell cover calls, it's insane. Um, it's insane. They give you free money. Like it's crazy. I don't understand it. I'm not even like it's not hyperbole. All you do is you have shares. Let's say for example, you have let's do GameStop for example, or let's do Nvidia, right? Nvidia is was what $122 right now, I think. Let's pull this up here. I'm not talking out of my butt here. Just going to give you guys real numbers. Nvidia options chain. Let's see if this is a good site for that. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. All right. So it is. Doesn't say the price. Yeah, 123. Okay, it's 123.70. So, and this is for January 31st. So that's not a good date. Let's go to February. Let's go to February 7th. Here we go. February 7th. Because January 1st is not a good day because that's in 2 days and it's not a full week. So February 7th. Let's say you have shares right now. So let's say you buy 100 shares right now at 123. You can sell a cover call on this. You could do it for like let's say 130, right? You could click this button if you have 100 shares, and you get this is the bid, right? Yeah, the bid. So 340 times 100 because there's 100 shares in any option. So if you sell a cover call for $130 dated February 7th, you get $340. That's it. You just get it. And they just give it to you for free. Now, the only catch is you have to sell your shares at $130 if it exceeds 130 by the close by the end of trading on February 7th. Now, there's some tricks you could do here. Like if the stock starts going up and you're concerned that you're going to lose your shares if you don't want to, you can roll this contract into February 14. Let's do it that way. Or what you could also do, you can go further out to begin with. You can go to like 136. Yeah, it's less, $175. But let's just say that like you did this for $175 and the stock like doesn't move or even goes down a little bit. In a couple of days, you can buy back this covered call. It's definitely not going to be 175. It's going to be like $50 or $40. So you spend $40 buying it back, and then you sell a covered call maybe at 130 or 128 or 126, and then you make more money. So that's what I was talking about with like buying back and like selling again. There's like a lot of stuff you can do with it. Just be creative. And this is just so much better than any dividend you can possibly imagine. Just like if you just made $340 every week with this, that's $17,000 for the year. And would you pay for this 100 shares? You paid $12,000. That's more than 100% gain. Like imagine if there's a stock. This is like almost 150%. Imagine if there's a stock that said like, hey, we pay 150% dividend. Like like you would definitely be all in on that, right? And you're not just making the 340 too. You're making you're also making the difference between the 123 and 130. So you're also making that money too. Also, if you lose your shares, it's not the end of the world because what you could also do, let's just say like this hits 132 by Friday, you lose your shares. You could sell a cash secured put on Nvidia. You could be like, okay, if this hits 125, for example, I would be willing to buy back. Let's just use this 123 as an example. If you wanted to start with a cash secured put, you could be like, or you can go to like 115 and be like, okay, I will agree to buy 100 shares at $115. In exchange, I will get $255. Like that's amazing too. You can go to 117 at 320. You can go to 119 at 370. Like you have so many options here to do. options. There's so many options here to deal with, and it's just amazing. I don't understand why people don't do this more often. It's crazy. They just give you money. Um, lots of football immediately thinks if someone's wrong, what did the wife do now? That's it's true. I didn't. I was like I couldn't think of another reason for why the floor would be wet. And I know it's snowing outside. I know the kids like to run around here. I just think that's true. I don't know exactly what I understand exactly what you're saying. Yeah. Will RFK be approved, or does Big Pharma have enough senators bought off to kill his nomination? I'm worried about it. There's so many. Let's just hope that all the Big Pharma people are on the left side of the aisle. I don't know. It sucks that like Big Pharma just controls everything. They get free. They get this fake shot that doesn't do anything. They get so much money off of it. Like you think that would be enough? Like no, they have to buy off Congress people. So I have my doubts. If I had a bet, I think I'd say yes. I don't know. For some reason I think it's going to happen, but I don't think it's like nearly 100%. It's not Marco Rubio is confirmed 100-0, which just like that sucks. So many people are like I saw in like Congress, they were like, oh, what a great suggestion, Marco Rubio 100-0. This is what it should be like all the time. I'm like, no, it shouldn't. That's like the worst thing. I was like, of course he's approved 100-0. That's ridiculous. I would like to learn more about that. I just put money into the SP 500 for retirement, but I stopped around September until further notice. Yeah, I mean, look, Larry Sports, like this is really life changing. Like if you do this in an IRA account, you can double your money each year, and I don't need to like just look what happens. I don't know how old you are, but like however long it'll take to reach retirement age, just think about what amount of money you have now, and just double it every year and see what you get. Like it's insane. But yeah, I definitely would look into that, like selling cash secure puts and cover calls. The only challenge is to find a stock that you want to do that with. So do your research. Only do it for profitable companies. You can go to like Google.finance and look at the numbers. I think a good thing to look at here. Let's just do GameStop, for example. Right here, are they the yellow is not really showing up, but yes, they're profitable. Let's do Nvidia, just because we just did them. Yeah, see this yellow? That is net income. If it's above this black line, then they are profitable. If it's below, they're not profitable. Do not invest in a stock, at least long term. Maybe you can day trade it, but not long term in a company that's not profitable, because they will have to dilute because they'll be losing money. And if they dilute, obviously the stock price will plummet, like with AMC. Let's look at AMC and see how they are not profitable. Yeah, see the yellow's below the black line here. Now they are doing better, a little bit better than they have before, but a lot of that money is from the dilution, sadly. They keep diluting at all-time lows. Adam Aron is either corrupt or completely incompetent, and maybe both. I don't know, but he just sucks. He's a terrible CEO. Do not buy AMC. But yeah, just look for companies that are profitable. Obviously, there's other things, there are other factors. That's the most important thing. If a company's profitable, they're not going to dilute and stuff. So that is the thing. No shutout, but come on, people. Do you lose all your money or just percentage if it goes against your bets? Who pays you out? I have a Vanguard broker. Do they pay you out? Well, you can't lose money on cover calls. It's not possible. Just think about it this way: if you have a garage sale and you sell stuff, you can't lose money on stuff. Now you can get a bad deal, but you're still going to make money. Let's say like if you have like a sports car collection that's worth $1,000, and you decide to sell it for like 200. Like yeah, you're going to be you're not going to make as much money as you could have, but you're never going to lose money on this. The brokerage pays you. I mean, it's really someone buying your option, but the brokerage will do that for you. Just like I said, you can't lose money on it. It's risk free outside of owning the stock. Like I said, if the stock plummets, then yeah, you're gonna lose money. That's the only way you lose money. But you're gonna own the stock anyway. You're gonna do this on stocks that you like. So that's the big thing. Like I said, do research on the stock you buy, and then look at the options chain and see if there's good premiums on it. If there are good premiums, you can make a lot of money on this stuff. It's crazy, and it's risk free compared to owning stocks in general and just letting it sit there in your account. Like there's no reason to do that. Like you have to. I think it's so important to sell these cover calls and cash your puts. I'm gonna do a whole, like I said, I'm gonna do a whole video on this on a Saturday after the Super Bowl at some point. So yeah, definitely check that out then. Okay, you're 33. So I'm 42, so I have less time. Yeah, you have almost 30 years until your IRA is like 59 and a half, so you're like almost 30 years. So yeah, just imagine doubling your money every year for 33 years or 30 years, so 27 years. Yeah, just see what happens. It's crazy. Yeah, little Marco. Yeah, I think Trump owed him a favor. I don't know that for sure. I think he owed him a favor, and that's why he nominated him, or just appointed him. Like it doesn't make sense otherwise. But I think there was a deal made, and Marco was promised something, and Trump's like, just whatever. And then he was approved. So, all right, guys, I think I'm going to sign off here. We went through our mock draft and we talked stocks and stuff, which is always fun. I'm always down for that. For the 1,000th time, we're going to do a whole video on this on a Saturday with Tom in a couple of Saturdays from now. So definitely check that out. I have to go do tax stuff for my corporate taxes. My accountant asked for it by Friday, so I have to go through all my bank accounts and stuff and go through all my PayPal statements. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. But yeah, we'll be back tomorrow for sure. I don't know if Andy's gonna be joining us. Last time I talked to him, he said he was gonna come on. So unless something changes, Andy will be on. If not, I'll be on by myself again. So yeah, check us out then. So please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video. Visit the link in the description for the merch store. Thank you once again for John Sanders, the super chat 222 on top of the 666 from last night. Is 888. That is almost 3 shares of AMC, which I will not be buying. It's about a third of a share of almost a third of a share of GameStop, which I will be buying. So thank you so much, John. Really appreciate it. Yeah, guys, have a great night, and I will talk to you tomorrow.